Hello, my name is Markus Römer. Today we will talk about the WHO, the World Health Organization, and what they do with their GMP guidelines. So let's assume we have about 200, 190, 200 different countries in this world. The United States, for example, they have the agency US FDA, Food and Drug Administration, and they have the CGMP, Current Good Manufacturing Practice, or in Europe, the EMA covering 27 member states, but also other countries in Europe aligned to the European GMP, Good Manufacturing Practice. So we have 27, now with the Americans 28, 33, something like this. And then we have the PICS members. We will talk about that in one of the next sessions. Around 54 different member states. And so what is this, the rest of the world? And so we will talk today about the GMP guidelines provided by WHO and what kind of great services they provide worldwide, basically. Okay, so I starting my screen here with the group, the WHO. So we don't talk about music today, but we talk about the WHO. You will find that here on the internet, who.int international. And there are also 4 or 5, 6 different regions provided by WHO, and it's headquartered in Geneva in Switzerland. Wonderful town, maybe a little bit expensive, but very, very nice. And here you see that good manufacturing practice. You see here all WHO GMP standards provided by the WHO. To be fair, you could say that it's a little bit softer GMP requirement standard like the European one or the PICS one. PICS is the same as the European one, so a little bit some different wording. So the World GMP could be PICS for the first countries, and the rest does belong to the WHO GMP standards, more or less. It's not 100% correct what I'm saying, but in very general, it is like this. And like you would say, the WHO, the same you do, please, and we will do that in the next sessions, is the PICS. Some say PICS guidances. If you have these letters, then always say PICS, or you just don't say FDA, you say FDA. I had once an audit in Asia together with my colleague, and somebody was saying, we have a US system. And we were looking at each other and saying, oh, what is a US system? Maybe something to do with US and so on. But then we have seen it's the OOS system. So that was very funny. Whenever we meet us again, the other auditor and me, this is our running gag that we say the US system. What they meant is the OOS, out of specification. So if you have such abbreviations, spell each letter separately. It's the PICS or the WHO or the FDA. So don't use it for OOS and say use or something like this. So, but today we move away here and we go to the World Health Organization. They do a lot of different things. We will talk today about, it's called Annex 2 WHO, Good Manufacturing Practices for Pharmaceutical Products. The main principles, they have also divided that in different other areas. You might also find it in different other languages, like in French, for sure. And there you can download that, the general GMP requirements. The current status is from 2014, and they write it in so-called TRS. We will have a view on that, what this stands for. If you could go here into the Annex 2, the GMP main principles. Again, you see here also other the TRS is, sorry, called Technical Report Series. It's a very, maybe a little bit a confusing structure with their TRS documents. We will have a few on that later or very soon. Again, this is the GMP standard. Nothing that would you say, no, that's very surprising. The pharmaceutical quality system, like you find it in the European GMP in Chapter 1, qualification, validation, product recall. They also execute self-inspections or define self-inspections. You will not find that in the US FDA CGMP Part 211, for example. Personnel, for example, which is in Chapter 2 of the European GMP, a separate chapter for training, premises, materials, documents, good practices in production and QC and so on. So very nicely written, in total 60 pages, so very compressed. Okay. What they also provide is, if you want to become a WHO member, and a lot of countries are members of the WHO, for example, India. India is not a PICS member, unfortunately, but they are WHO member. But you will also find other countries which are WHO member, or they work together with the WHO. Even, for example, North Korea, that's very funny. They also work with the WHO. And they provide this kind of inspection services. We will go into detail in this later. You find all the information about the technical report series here, even how they are divided in clinical trials, good manufacturing practice, this is what we talk about today, or good practice for pharmaceutical quality control laboratories, control testing, procurement and procurement agencies, and so on. And they also, do audits or inspections of local agencies, national competent authorities, for example. So they provide a lot of different things. If you would go into the guidelines section, here you will find also development, distribution, inspections, for example. So then you will come here to some documents. Experts are also reading that is WH good chromatography practices. The documents sometimes are great, sometimes they lack a little bit of the required background, maybe. So it's sometimes, like in every agency, some things are written absolutely greatly and some not. What is also interesting are the public inspection reports. So if you would have a new supplier of APIs or anything like this, it could happen that the WHO already did an inspection. And that's quite very cool. They also provide their inspection reports to the public. Like here, I don't know, what should we take? Beximco Pharmaceutical Limited in Bangladesh, or so you see here quite a very good list. So that could be a part of your supplier qualification, or it would also be interesting for you that there have been already inspectors from the WHO, and that could also be inspectors which are from the UK or from Germany or from Canada and so on. So they already faced a serious GMP inspection. What even not a lot of people do know is that the WHO is also writing, like the US FDA is writing warning letters. They call it a NOC report. So this is a notice of concern report. If the WHO has very serious concerns about the quality of products, they will also provide such a notice of concern record. So that's quite very interesting, and could also be something that could provide you in screening, in looking into different suppliers. If there's already a notice of concern, you can even skip the audit to go there and not to put them on your list. What is written quite very well, for example, is Annex 4, and you see all these different technical report series numbers. For me, sometimes it's very confusing. This is now from the new technical report number 2033, and sometimes this guideline on data integrity was part of the technical report 996. This is what I still remember in Annex 15, and now it was put into technical report 1033 in Annex 4. I have not understood what is the logical background of that, and I even tried not to understand it. It just reminds me all the time when I talk about WHO guidelines and guidance documents, I always must go on the website and check how the current numbering scheme is. For me, it's irritating. Maybe somebody can explain it to me, because there are other technical reports like 961, for example. Then it's the good manufacturing practices for sterile pharmaceutical products. So they have divided it into different areas and topics, and they have given different numbers. The numbering scheme, I guess they have something like a document numbering convention or something like this. It's just counted incrementally by one number. I have not seen any logic behind of that. Then we have here also other great documents, technical report 2033. You know, you always can see what is the background, who was in the expert committee providing that documents, who was part of that. Quite very interesting. Again, they do a great job. I found something in a WH Technical Report 1033 that you see here the categories like development, distribution, and I think it's pretty much current. It's from 2021, but here the different numberings of the technical reports and the annexes and so on, and they did that for all the different areas that they are providing. I was happy to find this listing. So for me, it was good for the orientation through that. Here, for example, for inspections, the guidance on good manufacturing practice, the model inspection report, for example, or quality management requirements for national good manufacturing practice inspector rates. So if an agency wants to become a WHO member, they know where they can look on that. And also, maybe very interesting for some of my French colleagues and friends, or in Canada where they speak French, that they also have that here in French versions, or in a lot of African states where they still also speak a lot of French. So I was happy to find that. I've seen also here there's something written in Japanese, for example, maybe also useful. You see, they are quite very active. Sometimes like this, if they work with hyperlinks to their own internet site, they do not work anymore because that was shifted. So sometimes even some problems. I would not know if this is working on to the European EDQM. Who knows, for chemical reference substances. But you see, altogether, they just do a lot of things, guidelines for preparing a laboratory information file. Quite very cool, huh? What they do in total. What is also quite very interesting, quite very new, I would say, it's called openwho.org, where they provide trainings for everybody in this world. Very interesting what they do here. What is also interesting is, and I think the WHO is pressing the right buttons with that, what they call infodemic. Infodemic is too much information, including false or misleading information. That goes a little bit into healthcare and patient information systems and so on. Very interesting. So you could spend hours on the WHO organization website. So I just wanted to give you some more about the WHO, not only the GMP guidelines and so on. Here, looking on that, I also found something interesting on the National Library of Medicines, because we will also do that, the European system and the PICS. The ICH is missing here in this publication, but also a lot about the things, the different, let me check, MRAs, for example, between the different states and countries, mutual recognition agreements. They have listed that in this report, all whatever between Canada and Switzerland and Europe and the US and Japanese and whatever. Very interesting, quite a cool thing to read. Regulating medicines in a globalized world, the need for increased reliance among regulators. Yes, that's the publication here. Very interesting. So what we were talking today, WHO, all the GMP standards provided by the WHO. Have a look on that if you do audits in third-party countries. It's good to know a little bit about the WHO, and it's quite very comprehensive what they provide. So again, a good work in this world provided by the WHO. So next time we will talk about PICS GMP, the European one, and CGMP in the US FDA. So we started with WHO. So thank you so much for this even longer session. And you have seen I've prepared different things. Have a few on the technical reports. Structure is a little bit confusing, but